Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's doing great. So, today we have our fantastic panel, and we start with the ladies Irina Purnova, Eric G, and Bruno, and of course, me, John Acosta. We're here to help you navigate life. Simple. I mean, simple but not easy, like we spoke about it on Tuesday, right, Kara? So, well, uh, today's topic is the power of the word versus the difference. And let's get started a little bit with the power of the word. And for that, I'm going to ask Irina. She's our manifestation coach. So, Irina, are our words powerful?
Yes, and that's so powerful. True. Our thoughts and our words, we don't even realize when we speak out, we send out the energy. So every word that we speak out, as same as the thought, has the frequency to that. Every emotion has the frequency to it. So each time, whatever we speak out to the universe, we just send the signals. So if we say that I can't do that, the universe is gonna present more cases for you to deal with what you cannot do. So it's very, very powerful to choose the words. And actually, it's the process when we consciously catch our thoughts and consciously catch the way we speak in order to use more powerful words that carry higher frequency. And this way we can attract better outcomes in our life.
There you go. So, now you know why you should be really, really, really careful when you say something to either others or yourself. Because one way or another is bound to happen. Now, can everybody hear me good? Everybody good, good, good? There you go. Okay. So, Bruno, as a self-love coach, what are the cases that you see more often than not on people misusing the power of the word?
The negative self-talk is just like, it's just one of those things that people have to like just cut it out, really, because the more you think it, the more you feel it, the more you say it, the more you create your reality that way, like Arina was also saying, right? So we all function in patterns, right? So it's all about like knowing how we can stop that pattern and then rewire that whole pattern, right, and create a new one, right? But there has to be like, you have to be aware of that pattern, right? It's like, and that's the thing, like it all happens in a matter of like seconds, it really does. Because like, I mean, and it happens with all of us, especially like it happened with me like this week as well. I was like, wait a second, this is why I do this. And I remember that like I smelled my hands and I was like, oh wait, I smell my hands and this is why it triggers me into wanting this. That's why I do this every single day. Because I smell my hands. I always do the same thing. I smell my hands and then suddenly this urge starts building on me. And it's something I have since I was a kid. I was like, I've been having this, but this is more smell, right? This is more self-talk patterns anyways, right? But yeah, negative self-talk, right? Negative self-talk needs to end. That's one of the first things that really needs to be like assured and literally established, is create like a pattern that helps like the people really into building those habits, right? Because you have a pattern, then you have a habit, right? But you need to do it consistently for it to become a habit. So the negative self-talk, yeah, needs to finish. In my case of the self-love, that's kind of how it happens a lot like that.
That is true. And now let's move to leadership. That's why we have an executive coach here. So, as a leader, what are the recommendations when they're speaking with their teams or even with their own peers? What should be some of the recommendations when they're speaking with them?
Yeah, shoot. There are so many books written on this topic. Like, entire sections of libraries written around this. Crucial Conversations is a fantastic one if you haven't read that. So I don't know if you can simplify like what the as a leader expectations are, because the expectation is that as a leader, my job is to adjust to what you need, what my team needs, what my boss needs, right? So it's a constant adaptation of how do I show up as me for you with my words. I will share one of my most favorite tools that I use a lot. Like a lot. And it's from Crucial Conversations. So read that book. Shameless plug. One more time. I didn't write it. It's just good. Do and don't. So I can confidently say that if you have ever worked in a job where you had a boss, at some point your boss was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And immediately you got that, what's wrong? Freak out. Yeah, we all know this experience, right? This is not uncommon. So do and don't is a great way to eliminate that challenge and set the stage every conversation that you are in. So I do want to have a conversation with you about X. I don't want it to be this. Some examples of ways that I have used it in the last 3 days. I don't think you're an asshole. I do think sometimes you say things without speaking.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I do want to have a conversation that's going to be uncomfortable. I don't want it to turn into a fight. I don't want to have this conversation multiple times. I do think if we don't bring it up now, we're not benefiting each other.
I love this, Kiara. You know how to use the power of the words for sure.
Yeah.
That combo. Ooh, it really just kind of like this is not what we're here for. This is what we are here for. Are you here for that? And the other person can go, yeah, or call me in 5 minutes. I need more coffee.
It's not only the words that you say, the way you say them, it's also how you set up the mood and expectations from the get-go. If somebody's working with you or for you, right away, believe me, with those words, they know exactly where they stand.
Yep.
So, okay, now that we understand that, let's talk about a little bit of forgiveness, because we're all human, we all make mistakes, and I'm gonna start with myself. Let's jump back all the way to last year, December 23rd. I have a best friend, somebody that I really, really, really love and respect a lot. He's a good friend of mine. And he said something that really rubbed me the wrong way. But because I know myself, I said, okay, let me zip it. Okay. Let me reflect on it, because, hey, if he's saying something like that, he might have some truth in it. If it's driving me insane so bad. So I said, okay, let me sip it, let me understand, let me figure it out, let me see if there's some truth in it, because if there's some truth, I gotta make some changes. So thinking, I came to the conclusion, okay, first, I know the type of person he is and the way his heart works. He's a person that if he has to give you his shirt from his back, he will give it to you. He's that good of a friend. And that's when I said, you know what? Now it's time for me to, because I don't find anything that really goes directly to me. I found a few scenarios that were indirectly to me. I said, okay, now it's time to go ahead and sit down with him and have a conversation, because now I have gone through all avenues in my head, and now I can make an educated decision, because at that point I was so upset that I wouldn't have listened to no matter what he said, because I was so upset because the way. And then he noticed it was not the message, it was the way he delivered it. So, and again, the power of the word in me choosing not only to forgive, but in this point, understand the other side because he didn't mean it in a bad way. And that's why I say, there's times where will have to forgive, and there's times where you actually have to sit down, put your big boy or big girl pants, and take it as it was meant to be. So, for forgiveness, what do you, Irina, think that people should do? Are you of the mindset of that you should forgive, forever, like some spiritual guidance or Bibles say it, or what? What are your thoughts on?
When let's just clarify, Johnny. When you talk about forgiveness, do we relate it to the power of words? Are we combining them?
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. So what I wanted to say, and to back to your story, this is true. Like, we have to be very conscious when we speak to others and what words we are choosing, right? So we know that word can actually hit people and hurt people more than even any action, right? And we have to be more conscious of how we are using the words and what we are saying. I'm not talking about, like, okay, if there is something you would never say to somebody you love, treat everybody also with the respect, right? Because there is the way, and Kara demonstrated just now, right? There is a way you put the words together that still makes you sound strong, and just, like, let's get it done, let's have the conversation, right? And not hurting the person. So you still can relate the message in more positive way. And obviously, when the word is already flying out of the mouth, you cannot return it, right? So it just, that's it, right? Boom. What am I gonna do now? And some people are more, like, prone to let's just react in the moment, right? And obviously, if somebody pissed us off, the first reaction, I'm just gonna get you, right? So it's very important to be always conscious of the way we talk, the way we approach people, knowing that we are all human beings. We all go through different experience. We all go through different emotions. And when it comes to forgiveness, if you catch yourself, if we catch ourselves saying something hurtful, always have the openness to face it and approach the person and say sorry, because sorry can actually be said by the strong person, not the weak person. And as far as forgiveness, it goes the same way. Forgiveness is for the people who are strong. And it doesn't mean that once you forgive, depends on what terms that, somebody did something. It doesn't mean that you have to accept that person in your life. It just means that you forgive them for whatever they've done, but they do not have to be part of your life if you choose to, right? The only thing is you do this forgiveness for yourself, because you don't want that block to stay in you and not allowing yourself go through the life, because each time we go back to that person that hurts us and we keep bringing up these emotions that could be like 10 years ago, and we're still coming back to the same situation, and guess what, we are sending out that energy that we could have preserved for ourselves and use it for something to create, rather than just thinking about what happened 10 years ago or so, right? So we understand that forgiveness is done for ourselves, so we can just forgive and move forward, knowing that I can use this energy for something better, rather than sending that energy back to that person who doesn't even remember what they've done to us, who don't care, and who just living their life. And we are the ones who keep charging ourselves with everything what happened, right? And we are the ones to send that energy to them. And guess what? People do it without realizing. When we send, even when we think negative of somebody, we still sending them our energy. There is no point to do that. So
And
just forgive and move forward and use that energy for something good for yourself.
That is right. And you just touched a topic that we're gonna be talking in a second, which is when we start inferring things or just thinking the non-spoken words, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. But back to forgiveness for a second. Bruno, what are your thoughts? Do you think people should forgive and forget every single time, or it should be one and done?
I mean, it depends. It depends the intention that people have. It depends on the information that people had before what they did. It depends. It depends on why people did it. It depends on how important it is. Right. Look, I give you an example about something that happened with me while I was in university. I gave this guy. So we went all to live together. It was five of us. I gave this guy a place to sleep. I gave him my bed. I gave him food. I gave him water. I gave whatever. And 2 years after, I find out that it was the one who spread rumors about me throughout the entire university, right? And he was living with me,
Hmm,
right? Mm.
stuff.
Yeah, you know, right? Karma, karma stuff because then karma hit him, right? And the whole town knew that. So not only uni, but the whole town plus uni, right? And like how people are, they love good stuff, but plus they also love good drama, right? So for a couple time, right? They everybody knew stuff and whatever. But anyways, I eventually moved on, and after a month I left, and then I came to Morocco, right? But it's just right. For example, that's unforgivable, right? But like for example, if somebody tells like, "Oh, I didn't want to worry you," that's why I said like there was nothing going on, and I didn't want to worry you and stuff. I'm like like I hate figuring out by myself, right? But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. I'll do what Johnny did as well with his best friend. And I'm gonna think, and I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna reflect about this, and we don't need to go that far. Cutting relationships and stuff. What's for? I mean, the intention of the person was not to hurt me. The person thought that the best was that, right? But it was all with the intention of helping me, right? Not to destroy me, not to hurt me, not to whatever, but to help. So I think that's also this is where I connect forgiveness with love, right? Because even if people shouldn't say you stuff the way they believe is supposed to be said, they should say stuff the way you like to hear it, so there's no misunderstanding, right? You forgive the person in the way the person said it, but you love the person because the person said it. So the person actually gave a shit, right? And there's not many people out there that are gonna do that, right? So now that's how I kind of try to see stuff, right? It's like I really try to balance it, right? But that's the thing, like I don't give one-offs. I'm just that person, right? Because I gave so many one-offs to people in my life, right? I had so many. I'm 22, and obviously you had much more people than I had, like coming in and out, in and out, in and out, right? Some stayed, and others just came and taught you a lesson and left some bullshit or whatever, right? But I'm 22 and I already had so many people, and I don't want that anymore. I want people who stay in that city, period, right? And like usually the most real and authentic people are the ones that don't have lots of friends. Like we just stay. Right? I don't know about you guys, whatever, but I don't have much friends, right? Because then again, right, the forgiveness, right? The forgiveness part for me is like it's like I love you, man. I'm a broken guy. I'll die for you. But it's just one of those things where like, yeah, you double cross me, or you say this or you say that, and depending on how important it is for me, or if you have to go, you have to go, and there's no point in being like, oh please no, oh no, whatever, because you did what you did, right? So yeah, that's what I feel about it.
There we go. So you pretty much, if I understood correctly, you got to think just like I did. Think about it, figure out if where's the situation coming from, and then decide If it's something that you can forgive and forget, or something that you can just say, that's it. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on this ride. So that's pretty good. I love that we're all coming to the same conclusion. But now let's talk about forgiveness on the business side of things. Because as business owners, people, it's very few people that are gonna try to mess you up purposely, on purpose. But there's a lot of more people trying to just take a little advantage of you sometimes. Just a little at a time, and it makes it different. Sometimes an employee, sometimes a vendor, sometimes is somebody higher up on the ranks. So, Era, what do you think should be done in those scenarios?
This is where I diverge from what everyone has been saying so far. Not entirely, but like I do. I 100% say forgive every single time. I do not care what they said, what they did. I don't care. 100% forgive it. 100% no, don't forget. Those are not synonyms. Those if we're talking about the power of words, right? Forgiveness, choosing to forgive somebody because they are a human and they make mistakes and they have their own trauma and their own drama, and you get that, like, you understand. Sometimes I'm the asshole. I get it. Absolutely. I can forgive that every single time. I have forgiven abusers. I have forgiven people who've gotten me fired. I have physical abusers, emotional abusers, mental abusers. I've forgiven all of those people. Did I forget? Not for a second. Not even for a nanosecond. No, that's different. Forgetting means that I have allowed what you are doing, and I will allow it again. I'm not going to forget. I'll forgive because you're a human being. We make mistakes. But I'm going to remember. And I'm going to remember the next time you say something or the next time you do something. And I'm going to start to track how many times I have to be aware that I am forgiving you. Because if I have to forgive you over and over and over again, I'm going to forget that you're around. And that's how I'm not going to forget what you did, but I'm going to forget your time with me. I'm going to say, I want all of the best. I'm going to forgive you. I want nothing but the best for you way over there at that table on the other side of the room, please. Or in another room, even better. Love that even more for me. And that's where in business, because absolutely everybody's super involved in their own world and they're not thinking most of the time about me and how what they're doing impacts me. They're thinking about them. I can forgive that. I do that too. But I would suggest never, ever, ever forgetting that is something that you had to do for somebody. Because if that is a repetitive behavior, then there's a conversation that needs to happen. Either they're completely unaware that that's how they're behaving, or they absolutely are. And well, that tells me a lot. I believe you. That's the other side. I'll forgive you, but I believe who you tell me you are.
Yep. And that's the thing. People will show their true colors at one point or another. And it's very seldomly gonna be based on words. It's gonna be on what they've done, on facts, repetitive facts. So we're gonna go into a mini commercial, and we're gonna speak a little bit about the unspoken words. And we'll be right back.
Are you ready to meet the most important person in your life? Are you ready to have the date with yourself? How about learning what you're all about and what are your heart desires? For that, I invite you for my interactive workshop, Meet and Greet Your True Self, where you tap into your potential and understand what exactly you would like to create in your life.
Do you want to
to learn how to dance salsa and bachata? Well, now's your chance. We have 2 locations in Lake Worth and Commercial Boulevard in Florida. The first class is complimentary. All you have to do is sign up now.
Alrighty, welcome back. So, we said that we were going to touch on the unspoken words. Let me illustrate with a story, okay? And I'm just going to use this story not because it's a lady mainly on this story, but because it happens to all of us. So, there was this couple. Why are you laughing? Seriously?
It promises. It promises.
There's this couple that the girlfriend finds out that her boyfriend has a 10-day vacation. Well, he's super excited. She's super excited about the vacation. And he says, you know what, dear? I'm going to take care of everything. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to pay for the trip. I'm going to make the scheduling. I'm going to make sure that we go on all the fun trips and we do everything we're supposed to. Well, lady's super excited. Doesn't pay any attention until the day of boarding. And she notices that the days is only 7 days. And she does not tell him anything. Just goes on the trip and starts getting into fights because she already been thinking that, oh my God, he really does not want to spend the 10 days with me. That's why he only bought 7 days. And then later on, they go to a dinner and the dinner gets cut short because he had another surprise again. She already had the idea. He's already not spending 10 days with me. The dinner got cut short. He really doesn't want to be with me. He wants to go back. What's going on? Oh, they go to the surprise. She finally relaxes and still doesn't say anything. By the 3rd day, she gets completely annoyed because those, as Bruno was saying, that negative talk that she had with herself was already eating her out. So she finally says, hey, what's going on? What happened? You don't want to be here with me? Why did you bring me? Why did you hype me up? He goes like, well, wait a second. The guy, completely clueless, as we all are. Because it's true. We're the last ones to know that you ladies are upset. Goes like, well, wait a second. I did 7 days, not because I didn't want to spend the time, but I bought all these extra surprises along the way, and then I couldn't afford 10 days. So of course she finally understood and calmed down, and everything. The rest of the vacation was good. But that happens more often than not on our day-to-day basis. We start making assumptions because of an action or something that was said, but nobody had the courage to say, you know what, wait a second, explain that to me, please. So who would like to go first on a situation that has happened to yourself or somebody you know? Please, Kara, go ahead.
Oh, I am so bad at reading between the lines. I've had on regular occasions, and I'll just blanket statement this to every boss who ever sees this. Yes, I'm sorry. 100%. The game that we play in business, the game, right? I'm not good at it. If you say something, I assume that's what you meant. I even repeat it back to you to confirm that that is what you said, and then that is what the information I go forward with. I don't. I actually, this is funny. I got into drama as a grade school kid because everybody else seemed to understand what people didn't say, and I didn't. I just didn't. It was like none of that got said. And they're like, oh yeah, but look at the way that they moved, and look at their eyes, and look at how they talk to this other person. I'm like, What? What is not? So I took drama so that they would teach me how to read facial expressions and how to read between the lines and connect with people on that level. And there's a lot of that. That concept is foreign to our brains. You say that that's how it is, but that's not what you meant. Why did you say it? And the challenge with that is I don't realize I'm saying things that I don't mean because my face and my tone will. I've worked really hard to be very conscious of my words because people will be like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" I go, well, "What do you mean? What do I mean? I just said what I said what." And they're like, "No, but do you mean that's because you're angry?" And I'm like, "No, did I sound angry? No, but I could be angry about it." "Oh, are you angry?" Yeah. So my story there is go take drama and learn more. And then just when in doubt, repeat it. Say it again. What you said was. So is that where we're going from? Okay. And that has worked for me.
I agree with you 1,000%. Sometimes, well, not sometimes. Everybody's its own world, and you never know where that world is turning or what's happening in their world at that time. So yeah, that has happened to me too. I'm really okay. Now this is for the people that know me. If you hang out with me, you know that I'm 1,000% sarcastic, but I don't do it in a mean way. I just do it because, like, seriously, it was like so easy to get. Like for example, one of the things that drives me insane is when I see people in movies, "Honey, I'm home." I'm like, "No, really, Sherlock, you're at work." But that's me being mean. You see, I don't do it to be mean. It's just like, seriously, I know you're home. We saw you walk through the door.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's usually how it goes. People have their mindset somewhere. They listen to something and they don't take it for the face value. They immediately have to guess if what you said is what you said because of la 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 la. And that is one of the toughest things to deal with, and that's why I brought the topic of forgiveness. So how about you, Bruno? Have you had a case yourself where you actually said, "You know what, I messed up, I overthought things, and now let me apologize"?
Yeah. Well, 2023 basically. It was very difficult actually, because like I went through like a lot of stuff, lots of stuff, and it's like, oh man, it was always so easy to just say it, you know, without just holding back. And oh man, but that's the thing, like it started becoming really really toxic when like it was more than words, because it came to a point I was searching for it, like I was searching for the problem. It's like I wanted something to happen. And when that happens, and then like you love the adrenaline of that anger, is like, god, like anything can happen. And like if it wasn't for my father, and if it wasn't for my family, like honestly, I swear to god, like I think I'd be here now. And Irina as well, I think she can confirm, because like like we had some convos, me and her, and she also helped me a lot. um because that's the thing, is like I remember back in 2022 I was also like that a bit, right? But because like I come from a family where, like, especially my mom, like she's very like boom boom, like her words are like a katana. It's like they will cut you, they will cut you in half, and you can't like cure that easily, right? So, like my grandma as well, right? um and because I was raised by her, I got that as well, right? But it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and the amount of like emotion behind it, right? And I mean, I've said lots of things that I regret, In fact, I don't even know how actually nothing happened, because I don't know how, like, nothing happened to me, or like, between me and somebody else, because of what I actually said, which was like really bad. it was like, you know. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, most of it is like, you have to forgive yourself, right? Because like, you don't want to make it look more important than it is with other people, right? People, they forget, if it's even somebody that, like, you just don't care, and that person doesn't care, the person just literally won't care. It's not like, you're Cristiano Ronaldo or Tom Brady yourself, and people are actually going to remember about it. um, and even if you are, people will have more things to think about, right? Like their kids or whatever. Anyways, um, so it's more about literally forgiving yourself, right? It's about forgiving yourself. And I had to forgive myself, and it was like very spiritual here for me, right? Because the words carry a lot of spiritual energy, a lot of spiritual power, right? And then again, if you create your reality with your words, right? You're saying you is me, right? Because, right, universe is a mirror, right? So if you're saying you're talking out to the universe. You're saying you is you, right? It's me. So it's like, there has to be very, very attention in how you say stuff. Now, don't overthink how you say it. Say it naturally. But then again, right, it's a program that you put in your mind, right? With like neuroplasticity, right? And I think Karen knows, probably, definitely Karen knows about, everybody here knows about this, but Kara is a more scientific, so she'll uncode everything if there has to be. But obviously, neuroplasticity has a lot to do with this, right? And it's really awesome. And yeah, no, that's really about it. And also, Kara was also talking about, like, she was like, like that she sucked reading between the lines. But that's actually a very good thing, because like, if people had bigger balls, then they'd say like it is. Like, for example, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just like, you have something to say, my friend, say it. You know, it's like, yes, I'm talking to you. Like, it's just like, but like, don't take it as like offensive. Don't take it as like aggressive. Don't take it as like, I'm not confronting you, right? I'm just saying it like it is, right? Like, don't roll me your eyes, and like, don't look me to the left, and all that stuff. Like, do you have something to say, right? And yeah, that's really about it, right? But that's the thing. That's the thing about authenticity, being authentic, right? And I think that's really beautiful, right? But being authentic, again, it's bigger than the power of the word. It's bigger than forgiveness. That's a whole different conversation, right? But it does connect with whatever we're talking about. So yeah, that's kind of me, you know.
Okay. So, Irina, how about you? Have you had a situation where you really, really overthought something, and then you had to ask for forgiveness to the other person?
Absolutely not. If I was in the case of that woman, of that girl, I would say before even boarding the freaking ship, if I look at the tickets and it's 7 days rather than 10, I would express myself to the fullest. I am just like that. I'm very direct. Love it or leave it, right? But I'm not gonna hold it back. It's just me. It's my personality. I was always like that. Maybe in school I was different, but after I graduated the high school, it's like a totally game change. I just deliver as it is, and I'm sorry if you can't take it, but I'm not holding anything, and I'm not guessing. This is me.
So you don't overthink anything. It's like,
No,
if you, the second that the thought shows up, you confront it.
most of the time, yes.
Actually, that is something to admire. Because it takes a lot of courage to say, you know what, right here and now, no matter what happens, let's do this. YOLO! Here's my question.
Yes. No, I would question right away. I wouldn't like wait and dwell on it and think about it. No. Especially it's the person you are with. It's not like a stranger. Like, hello, if I can't deliver the message to the person that close to me, like what kind of relationship is that?
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, that is a very important thing in life. No matter if it's, I mean, most importantly, if it's somebody that you live with, your partner, your life partner, you should be able to feel open enough to ask pretty much anything.
Yeah.
That should be the correct feeling inside. But unfortunately, we're still learning. We're still getting things wrong. We're still human, and that's why I wanna go ahead and put some tools for people so they can go ahead and take advantage of avoiding small mistakes. The first thing is, like I say on every single one of them, be kind to yourself. If you make a mistake, own it. Own it 1,000%. And like Irina said earlier, is not always the weak person that says, I'm sorry first. It takes a lot of chutzpah to say, you know what? I messed up. I'm really, really sorry about it. How can I make it up for you? Because that's the other thing. There's people that don't need anything. They will tell you right away, you know what? I see where you're coming from. It's fine. But there's people that could say, that really hurt me. We may have to check our boundaries so we can move forward. So that is really, really important. Figuring out one, if you made a mistake, figuring out how to apologize quickly, profusely, and take ownership. Take ownership. Because there's nothing more annoying than, I don't know if you had those customer service. Thank you for calling. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I apologize for it. Can I put you in a brief hold? Yeah, thank you. They don't mean it. They don't care. They know that they have to say it because there's somebody listening to that call. And if they
Yeah.
don't say, I'm sorry, they're going to get
Mm.
points marked off for lack of empathy.
Yeah.
So that's one. Second, Bruno said it, I said it, and I think I said it. Everybody that is in front of us is our mirror.
Yep. Yep.
Okay? So what does that mean to you? When you go to the mirror, do you extend your hand forward and comb your hair? Or do you actually reach back and comb your own hair?
I'm sorry, I suddenly had a full-on visual of trying to brush.
Yes. But that's what we do on the day-to-day life. We try to see what's wrong in the other person and we try to fix it. We're really good at
Yeah.
fixing everybody else's problem. We have no problems.
Yeah.
We have no problems. We're really good. We have no problems. We're really good.
That's so true.
But in reality, when we see the other person in front of us, we really have to be listening, like active listening to whatever bothers us. Because 9 out of 10, if that other person said something that upsets you, you may have it. You may be one of the worst offenders about it. So you do need to go ahead and get started. I mean, with fixing your own things. The next thing is understanding that the other person in front of you is your master, is somebody who's here in the world to teach you. And the reason I say that is because sometimes we just want to kill that person because he or she said something that upset me.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If that was your boss, would you go and choke him? No, you wouldn't. You will close your lips, breathe, go to your office, scream, ah, calm down, and then You would say, okay, let me do whatever this asshole wants me to do.
I'm sorry to all of my bosses that I never did that. I didn't know that that was the standard operating procedures. My bad.
I will send it on my next book. How to deal with your office work. But yeah, that has happened to me. I've had bosses that didn't know how to read a chart, and I'm like, yeah, how did you become my boss? So, but that's beyond the point. The point thing here is that you would not yell or try to kill your boss. So same thing
Yeah.
when somebody tells you something, don't go right away, try to kill them. Try to figure out where they're coming from and if that's something that you have. And last, before I jump to Kara, because she put the anatomy of the apology, and I think that is so important to understand. Last would be, as always, take action. And when I say take action, is exactly what Kara said, and that's why I drove the question earlier on the business world. What do you do? Do you forgive? Do you forget? Do you never talk to them? And I love what she said. No, you forgive 100%, but you do not forget. Two different things. What do I mean by that? In life is a choice. People say that sometimes I'm really, really tough because people have actually tested and seen how far I can take it. And those people, when they do it maliciously, on purpose, trying to hurt me, they get cut off. They don't get a second chance. Everybody else, if I see that they really didn't mean to and it wasn't like trying to hurt me, you deserve a second chance. 100%, because we're all human and we're all going to make mistakes. And with that, because we all make mistakes, let's go through the anatomy of the apology.
So I'm going to preface this with, I do this built around intention versus not intention, right? So we think, we speak, we behave. That's our center of control. And where we become aware is where we can start being intentional, right? And most of the time it goes in one of two directions. Either I absolutely intended that to be the thing and I very intentionally made that happen and I'm going forward with it, or I did not intend that. That was not what I wanted to do and now I need to give you an apology. So to make sure, 2 steps back, to make sure that we're headed up that circle and doing it intentionally, that's where that do-don't statement comes in, right? I do want to be vulnerable with you and share this problem I'm having. I don't want it to turn into a fight. Safety words are really good for that. We hear about safety words for all of the naughty things that we do. It works really well for the normal things that we do too. Like if you live with somebody and you co-live in a space that needs to be maintained, having a safety word around talking about cleaning can be really helpful, because then they don't feel like you're attacking them. This is just a discussion about the house and the space that we cohabitate in, right? So having that do-don't, having those safety words, having those things put in place so you can do things intentionally. When that fails, when I did not intend for my behavior to impact you in that way, and now I owe you an apology, there's 4 steps. And this was huge in my world when I figured this out. John Hopkins did a whole research on this. Go Google it, you're welcome. And we teach our kids to just say sorry, right? Like, oh, sorry, as if that were enough. But it seldom is. And anybody who's gotten a I'm sorry response is like, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like an apology, because you're missing steps. So the first part is that you have to admit the deed. You can't just say I'm sorry. You have to say, I'm sorry I hit you. I gotta say the thing. I'm sorry I hit you. And then I have to acknowledge that was an injustice. It's not right to hit people. I'm sorry I hit you. It's not right to hit people. And then I'm going to ask for forgiveness. Can you forgive me for doing that? And what can I do to make it better?
Yeah.
Because forgiveness is just that's a step, but what can I do to make it better? Right? Or the other side of that is, I won't hit you again. I acknowledge what I did was wrong. This is why. can you forgive me? And I'm not going to do it again. I'm aware. So 4 parts. You have to confess the deed. You have to admit the deed was an injustice. You have to repent, say you're sorry, right? Ask for that forgiveness. And then follow it up with either what can I do, or I will never do that again.
Yeah.
100%, and I love that because it covers every single stage. Because I agree with you. When people say "I'm sorry" and they keep walking, like, so Bruno, would you like to add something? Any tools, anything that people can do to make either the words more powerful and meaningful, or their forgiveness easier to achieve, and also easier to get along with other people? Because let's be honest, we all make mistakes and we're always going to offend somebody. If I haven't offended you yet, please take a ticket and hold your tongue. I will be with you shortly.
Stand in line.
Actually, I have something like it's more in terms of the power of the word. It's more of like it's more of a silent move. It's like if you feel like you have no other choice but to leave, don't worry, my friend, leave. Like leave the actual situation.
Mhm.
Like because look, like if the like some people when you argue with them, they're not looking for whatever. Like they're not looking for a normal conversation. They're looking for a way to like just um take out their frustrations on something or on someone, right? And if they choose you, it's because there's something in your energy that seems almost acceptance of it. Maybe it's the way you look, maybe it's your height, maybe it's whatever, right? Because you're not that scary to deal with, right? But look, that's ego, right? So the ego attacks, right? The ego attacks, right? But the spirit doesn't attack. Like consciousness doesn't attack and consciousness doesn't defend. Consciousness does the wisest stuff, which is if you know that you can't do whatever, you leave. And that's fine, there's no problem, right? Because look, like there's certain situations they're not worthy of like uh look, a thing that I had to forgive myself about was the amount of times I leaked my own access to people in a very toxic way, like letting people control me. Because, like John was saying, right, the person you're looking at yourself in the mirror is your master, right? So, I mean, if you are partaking in the same and low vibrational energetic like experiences that people want you to be in, then guess what? You know better than people. You know, I mean, like it's not only know better than them, but it's like you gotta use your brain, right? You gotta like turn on your more of your logic side, not so much of your emotional, right? And understand that like whatever is being said to you is a projection of them. That's how they feel. Like there's no point in being like, oh, but why do they think this about me? Why do they say this? Why do they say that? Because it's just like it makes us feel special in a negative way because of what was said and how it made us feel, right? But at the same time, it could be said to somebody else. You don't know if that same person had the same reaction 5 minutes ago with somebody else because you weren't there to see, right? So it's just about like turning more of your logic side, less of your emotional side, right? And that's the thing. And like forgive yourself when you whatever, but never judging yourself, right? And then celebrating when you actually like you're able to in the same situation, right? Because the same pattern will repeat until we break it. And the way we break it is if we not undo, if we do something different than we always do, right? So that's it, right? I mean, leave the situation, right? And you're gonna thank yourself because you're gonna feel it deep inside of you that you know your intuition will basically you will feel like you did the right thing, and that's because you did. Right? So if anything, just like leave the situation and like like you're literally being the wisest, most wise. Though you're being the wisest person in the place, right? Because look, you're not 5, and you're clearly not in high school, right? And you're clearly not in university. You're a grown ass person, right? Not because of your legal age, but come on, man. Like it's time to, right, literally embody that presence, right? Embody that character, right? So yeah, it's very very cool. Actually, very badass.
Okay. All right. So, Irina, anything you would
Yes.
like to give as a tip on how to improve the word or how to improve the forgiveness side?
There is a practice for forgiveness, especially when you have not forgiven somebody, right? So the best practice is to actually um, send the love to that person that you have to forgive. Like every morning when you do your morning routine, if you have your morning routine, if you have practicing gratitude, you could add to that practice also the practice of forgiveness. And I know sometimes people hurt us in the past that we still remember what it feels like, and we are still reluctant to forgive them, but the power is coming when we are able to forgive them, because like I said, we keep ourselves in a jail if we are not forgiving these people, because these people live in their lives, and now we want to come to that agreement, to that peace for ourselves. And initially it could be difficult, because how can we send love to somebody who hurt us and really hurt us in a way that it's difficult to forgive? But that's why initially you could put the image of the person that you love, and then gradually replace it with the image of the person that you have to forgive. It's a practice, it's a daily practice, and the more you do it, the more it becomes the second nature, until you feel completely relieved, and that you feel that the forgiveness is done.
Hmm. And I love that because it is a conscious way to actually forgive somebody. So you're not only being conscious, you're also anchoring your thoughts. And I actually is the first time that hear it explained in such a good way that it makes absolute sense as the steps to forgiveness. Thank you, Irina. So now that you have some tools, you understand how powerful your words are and how powerful forgiveness is. Use it wisely. If you have questions, if you like more guidance, we have 3 coaches: Irina, Bruno, Kara. Reach out, talk to them. If you want to have a one on one conversation where nobody's going to sugarcoat anything, call us. We will be there to help you out and help you reach your next level. On the meantime, it's been a pleasure being with all of you today. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you for giving your time. Love you all. And until next Thursday, bye bye.
Bye.